I guess it's been a few weeks since you guys last saw this, and like I mentioned a little bit before, the last time we didn't really talk about the networking, so I'm just going to go into a broad overview again. So this is Core Overload. I think everyone here has seen it. It's a networked multiplayer action MOBA space shooter style game. Played over the network. Right now we've got it going for teams of 5 versus 5. Matches are usually somewhere around 15 minutes. And the whole premise is you customize your ship with all these different parts. I'll load into the ship editor for a moment. So in here, you're able to build and customize your ship layout. You build it in different pieces. So we have all these different categories: core, chassis, wings, weapons, and engines. As you'd expect, they do what you would expect them to do. Your engine affects your speed and your maneuverability. Your wings affect your turning. Your chassis affects what sort of things you can equip to yourself. Your core kind of gives you your superpower, and your weapon does cool things to kill enemies. So in here, you do the mix and match typically. I'm not going to go too much into this because it's not the networked part. But from here, I'll just launch into our client on Gladys. So we're now running a remote machine. Let's bring up some debug. See what our ping is. There we go. You have to load into the game because there's no pawn at that point. So we're getting a pretty good 13, 14 ping here to Marina Del Rey. So this is the game right now. I'm in here all by myself on a remote little server. So the first thing I'll do is spawn us some bots so we can look at what they're like now. So these are the bots, and I'll switch into just a watch cam where we can see them play. Yeah, they've been in there for a while. We just weren't showing the tooltips on them, I think. They're all team members, pretty much. So here we've got 10 bots spawned, I believe, right now. You can actually see their layouts. I think they spawn with random layouts. Yeah, so many of them are drawing from new parts, some of which may or may not be working currently. But the goal of the game is to fight over these capture points. You'll see there's a score at the top that ticks down from 5,000. That's your base's shield. Once that goes down, that team's base may be attacked by the enemy team. If you destroy the base, you win the game. Aside from that, kill each other and try and take capture points. It's meant to be very teamwork oriented with the customization. Some of these ships are behaving as healers. Some are tanks, some are very good at killing other ships. Let's see, it's probably going to take too long for it to play through a full game. I'll talk a little bit about our networking setup though. So this is using the generalized client server model, which a lot of you using UDK are probably familiar with. We're running a remote machine that's acting as the authority over everything, but we simulate as much as we can locally here. So the server is running at a much slower speed. I think we're getting like 90 frames a second, only 50 frames a second. It looks really nice at 50 now. Our server actually runs significantly slower, only 20 frames a second. So a lot of the behavior on the client is meant to hide that fact so that it feels smooth, and also to hide the lag so that when you make a change in direction or a change in speed, you don't really notice it. It kind of happens gradually on the remote clients that are viewing it. Also, you'll see there's a lot of particle effects and projectiles happening. Projectiles use what's called a torn-off pattern. They're spawned, given a velocity, let go, and from then on, they're never given any network data again. All the particle effects and other local behaviors and animations, those are all triggered locally, so there's no network data being sent for them. They're all based off other simpler events that are being sent through the networking model. But it's mostly unreliable other than sending over data about your ship, which is probably the trickiest part since there is no base model for these ships. You can have any combination of parts, and the network has to be able to handle that. handle the abilities for that, handle the effects for that. Sean Fu, who did our ability system, did a really great job modeling that so that we could just create generic abilities and not have to worry about the networking. The underlying networking implementation is almost serialized to a degree. So it's all virtualization. They all implement the same behaviors. And we just throw the simple patterns together in building blocks and make them do what we want. But that's pretty much core overload. I'll stop it here instead of letting the box play at the end, so you guys have a little bit more to see on demo day when we show it off.